Hello everyone, I'm John Engel, Editor-in-Chief of DISTRIBUTECH International, and this is your one-stop shop for tips and tricks for submitting content to DISTRIBUTECH International 2025. In this video, we'll cover the conference program layout, our topics, categories, and formats for 2025, while making sure to point out what's new and different. We'll take you behind the curtain to share what we look for when accepting content, as well as the common pitfalls. And finally, we'll spotlight our Utility University submission process. Check out the timestamped chapters in this video description to jump around based on your needs. As you watch this now, our call for content at DISTRIBUTECH International 2025 is live. So with that, let's get started with our conference topics. Our goal this year is to create a seamless experience for DISTRIBUTECH attendees and to make the organization of our content easier for all of you submitting content as well. With that in mind, we're transitioning from tracks to topics. This will allow us to better organize our content by allowing you, the abstract submitter, to put a finer point on your subject and eliminate overlap within the conference program. We have more than 50 topics, so we've grouped them on the call for content page that you're seeing here to help you navigate the options. You'll see some topics do have crossover, which is okay. This gives us flexibility to find the right spot for your session. First up, we have Advanced Distribution Operations, as well as associated topics ADMS, DERMS, SCADA, and sensors. These topics will showcase how advanced distribution operations and tools are working to manage and control the future grid through orchestration and flexibility, both on the distribution and transmission systems. So think of this as your home for advanced controls on both sides of the grid. You may remember previous tracks for the flexible grid, energy orchestration in the DSO, DERMS, and advanced distribution operations. This grouping aims to eliminate much of the content overlap that we've experienced in the past. Next, you'll see asset management and related content covering data analytics and AI, storm and disaster management, vegetation management, outage management, forecasting, and mapping and GIS. Not much changes with communication networks. We'll be talking about networks and private LTE, everything connected to how the smart grid communicates with assets and sensors in the field. Moving on to customer engagement, as well as advanced metering infrastructure, customer data management, disaster response, user experience, energy efficiency, interconnection demand response, and CNI. Then we have cybersecurity, which is a point of emphasis for us this year. It's relatively unchanged from the previous year, and we'll cover risk management, NERC-CIP compliance, detection and prevention, and more related to IT/OT security. Next, we have DER for reliability and resilience. These topics will cover distributed energy resources like microgrids, solar power, energy storage, demand response, virtual power plants, with a focus on how DER can be used to prevent and ride out outages while also deferring costly network upgrades. Then we have grid modernization, system hardening, grid enhancing technologies, non-wires alternatives, advanced metering infrastructure, undergrounding, and ADMS. These topics showcase the efforts to fortify the distribution and transmission grids through physical infrastructure investments and software to improve system reliability and resilience. And here's a new one, and another point of emphasis for us this year, policy and regulation. This stems from dozens of conversations we've had with the DISTRIBUTECH Advisory Committee and attendees that policy needs a clearer home in the DISTRIBUTECH conference program. We'll cover local, state, and federal policy, including permitting, decarbonization goals, interconnection, energy markets, reliability, bulk power, transmission, and so much more. The Smart Cities topic returns in 2025, covering how cities use technology to monitor everything from air quality to water efficiency to parking, public safety, and more, as well as the interplay between smart cities and utilities. We have transportation electrification, formerly titled electric vehicles. These topics will encompass everything related to how EVs, both at the residential and commercial levels, interact with the electric grid. That includes managed charging, fleets, charging infrastructure, and hardware. And finally, our last set of topics related to workforce, which is a new name but folding in many of the concepts we've featured in the former ESG track. In these topics, we'll cover diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, ESG, upskilling, the digital transformation of utilities, safety, finance, and AI. And now on to content format. A lot has changed here based on feedback from our audience who are seeking deeper technical content. Every session in the conference program will be 50 minutes, allowing for expanded conversations and Q&A. Pretty simple here. Your next step will be to select the career level your content is tailored for, whether intro basics, technical, or thought leadership/executive. Then we'd like you to let us know who the key audience would be for your content, so broken down into IOU, munis, co-ops, and government. Next, let's get into tips and tricks, how we identify and accept good content, and what pushes content into that not so good category. What makes a great content submission? First, get right to the point. You can assume that people reading your proposal are familiar with electric utilities and how energy is managed on the grid. It's best to state the problem or solution you wish to present in a clear and concise way. Our audience has told us they want you to get to the meat of the issue so they can truly dive in. Time is precious, so don't waste it. Second, of course, make sure your content is appropriate for electricity delivery companies, i.e. electric utilities or city local governments. That means including a utility or city official for peer-to-peer learning. Utilities especially want to hear from other utilities. That's a surefire way to elevate a content proposal. If you're covering policy, recruit a government official or regulator to participate. Please also try to have one overarching theme for your content submission. What problem are you solving? Be clear, concise, and direct. And lastly, make it fun. Submissions should be innovative, timely, and engaging. For speakers, pay attention to diversity. Diverse perspectives or backgrounds make better panelists. Please be purposeful in elevating voices within and outside of your organization from all backgrounds. Think about our audience, utilities, and the partners that they work with as our main attendees. Subject matter experts and those with extensive background and experience make the best speakers. Now, maybe more importantly, here's what not to do. First of all, many of our proposals come from utility or city partners and the vendors that supply them, and that's great. But if your proposal sounds too much like a sales pitch, it will most certainly be rejected. Second, please make sure you have a utility or city official presenting the topic. And as I mentioned in the last section, diversity is not a nice to have on panels at DISTRIBUTECH, it's a requirement. Third, please get right to the point. Don't go too broad and vague, and don't give us a ton of background. You can assume that proposal readers are familiar with the industry and that they understand what you're talking about. Now, if you're presenting an entirely new way of doing something, of course you might need to elaborate, but try to be as concise as possible. Remember, our committee members sometimes have over 100 proposals to read. Finally, avoid typos, missing words, unclear statements. Too much jargon can sometimes backfire on you. Just explain what the problem is that you're trying to solve as clearly as possible.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Taves, DISTRIBUTECH International's Conference Manager, and I'll be walking you through our final section, how to submit a content proposal as well as a utility university course. First, I want to take you through how to submit a content proposal through our official speaker management system. That's called Session Board. You'll be able to access the link to our official call for content in a variety of ways, but the most easily accessible way will be through our call for content page on our show website. We'll also be posting the links on our social media pages as well as through email, so be sure to check out your inbox and follow us on our social pages. Once you're on the submission site, step one will be to read through the welcome letter, which has important information, including things like deadlines, as well as a link to this video if you need to watch it again. In addition to the email address you will receive notifications and status updates from. So if you want to read through those, you can see our topics. This topic description page, and then as well as our dates and deadlines. So step two will be telling us about your session, which is where you will fill in information such as your title, description, the format. It's really the meat of your presentation, so be sure to spend a good amount of time filling this section out. You can see your title, your description, your topic choices, also your categories. So you'll select 3 to 5 of the most relevant categories that are just more specific. Your level, so what type of audience are you looking for, what level? So also just your audience type, so who is going to benefit the most from your proposed session. The last thing for your submission for your session is, has this been previously submitted? And if so, when and where? And then also, does your presentation include an electric utility representative? And then any notes that you have, nothing's required there. So step two will be to click into the speaker information page. So you are going to fill in the names, titles, and contact information of the speakers who will be involved. Make sure that you're submitting a panel. You have your panelists identified before you submit this, as it will be helpful to our advisory committee. You can also identify who will be a moderator or speaker using the speaker role dropdown. So you can start to add just whoever your speakers are, their email, their job title, company name, a short biography, a little bit about them, and then again, their role. So this is just important that you try to just make sure that this is correct. So that if they're a speaker or a panelist, if they're the moderator, or maybe you are, in the marketing team and you're just filling this out on behalf of someone else, make sure to put yourself as the point of contact only, so not presenting. So you can do this for every single speaker. You'll just hit add if there is another person that needs to be added, and each session should just include 2 to 5 speakers. So just as much information as we can get will just help our advisory committee tremendously. So then the last step is just to hit complete, and thank you for submitting your session to our event. So that is pretty easy to do that. You can just submit as many proposals as you would like. And once you have submitted, it will take you to this page, and you'll be able to see that your submission is pending. And you will see that it will be updated once it has been either approved or declined. But this is where you can see all of your proposals in one place. So finally, I just want to go over some key dates for our call for content. Speakers and submitters will be alerted in late September if their content has been chosen for the program, which will be prior to us going live with the program at the beginning of October for our audience. All right, next I'm going to show you how to submit a utility university proposal. The format for submitting the course is slightly different than what we look at for our call for content on the conference side, so I'm going to walk you through it. All right, so first you're going to see a welcome slide with all of those dates and deadlines for submitting. And so the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to provide us with a course title. So whatever you like your course to be called, please provide a detailed description of your utility university course. I'm just going to put test. Please just do your best to make the description sound enticing to your target audience. So you're next going to tell us the course duration. So this is either going to be 4-hour course, that would be a half day, so a morning course, or an afternoon course, or it might be a full day course. So go ahead and select what you would like to choose. And then after that, we're going to ask you to list the purpose of the course. So our committee wants to understand why you feel that this course is needed in the industry and what important knowledge it imparts to participants. So now this is probably the most important section of your proposal. We'd like to get specific about the knowledge, skills, and capabilities that the attendees will walk away from after they take your course. So this is optional, but it is highly encouraged to also upload your course syllabus. And then the last kind of part of this is who should attend your course. So All right, so the next section is regarding your target students. So where do they come from, and what functional areas within their utility, city, or company should they represent? And then we want to know is if this is a basic intro level course or a technical course or something geared toward upper management and executives. We'll also ask if there are any prerequisites that attendees should have before they take the course. And then finally, we will ask you, just has this course been offered somewhere else? Maybe it was offered in previous years or at a different event. And then lastly, we'll just ask you to give us a couple of references. So we're looking for full names and email addresses of a couple people who can speak on your behalf as an instructor. So then the last page, we're mostly asking about just who you are and your experience. It's pretty self-explanatory, but I do want to point out the bottom of the instructor roles. So we'll need to identify who is going to act as the lead instructor If that's you, then great. If you have some co-instructors, you're allowed to add up to 2 additional people who would be the co-instructors. But we do need to identify kind of who is taking the lead for this course. I'm going to go ahead and put these in. Ooh. For short biography, and then a resume. So once you hit complete, it will take you to a landing page. I think I have to actually upload something. All right, so once you get here, this is just the completion stage. It should then take you to a page where it just lists all of your course submissions. So it's taking me there right now. So again, let's say I had submitted, regular call for content, a proposal, then that would be here. And then my utility university course would be here. And again, these will just be seen as pending until they are reviewed, graded, and then we will again notify you of your acceptance status in mid to late September so we can go live with the program in October for our audience.
Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and we're so excited that you're interested in participating in DISTRIBUTECH International 2025's conference program. Make sure to check our website and follow DISTRIBUTECH on social media to get the latest updates. We'll see you in Dallas.